Welcome to Tailgate Update. We have the usual suspects, Julie Miller, Ryan Besaw, and myself. I'm Jay Moffitt, and we are celebrating the 75th episode. There's no special celebrations. We're saving that for next week with 76. We'll bring in some trombones. But
The
this
76ers.
Streamers, trombones, trumpets,
that's
Yeah.
it.
the whole thing. Satchmo
Yeah.
Records, all coming back.
Satchmo, absolutely.
Oh, we have to have like the confetti raining down.
Yeah. Why are we celebrating 76 again? It's like that.
Because
It's a prime
70,
number.
yeah, 76 76 trombones. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you know
Yeah.
what else we could celebrate it with? 76 new subscribers. So make sure to hit that notification bell, like it, subscribe. I did it out of order, but I'm still gonna go ding and get us a little bit closer to me getting some of Coach Tomlin's wife's clothes and their NFL line.
Again?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe in a couple years I'll be able to afford one. So
All right, Jules.
Okay, we're going to start it off a little bit with some baseball, and Ryan's going to talk about Major League Baseball to kick us off.
So, it's mostly some roster moves happening this week. Also, got a little bit of jeers for the Colorado Rockies. Anywho, let's start off in Philly. The Phillies are moving Taijuan Walker to the bullpen. He was in the rotation. He has 10 appearances this season, 8 starts, 2-4 record with a 3.53 ERA and 43.5 innings pitched. So, yeah, they're moving him to the bullpen. Apparently, they don't like him in the starting rotation anymore. The Guardians' Shane Bieber, former Cy Young Award winner, he's making his second rehab start. He could rejoin the Guardians rotation by late June, early July. He's rehabbing from Tommy John surgery from last April. So you know how long Tommy John takes. Takes forever for you to come back.
yeah,
And
sure does.
not even sure if you're going to be the same. I mean, it's very rare if you're the same after Tommy John.
Hmm.
So Cleveland should be looking forward to that because right now they're 5 games back of, I think they're 5 games back of the Detroit Tigers, who came out of nowhere last year with a young squad. They're firing on all cylinders this season again. Tarek Skubal is just lights out again. Houston Astros, Jordan Alvarez. He's gonna get an extended stay on the IL with a hand fracture this time. The team previously thought the injury was a muscle strain. Landed on the IL. They took another scan. They're like, "Oh, hey, you have a fractured hand." They're like, "Oh, that's cool." So it's about 60% healed. So he's gonna be on the IL a little bit longer. He's been on there for about a week already. They're just going to extend him until his hand's healed.
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the Rockies. The Colorado Rockies have the second most losses before their 10th win since the mid-1800s. And I don't recall the team's name, but I think it was the year like 1859 or 1889. The team got their 10th win just after they lost their 59th game. So, Colorado's off to a tremendous start.
Well,
So after
Colorado
Double Days,
wasn't
children
even
were still alive.
Yes.
so Colorado wasn't even a territory before 1861. So I'm gonna take a solid guess that that is not the team because there was no Colorado at that point in history.
I can't remember what the team's name was. I saw the graphic this morning on Sports Center,
I mean,
and they either lost 57 or 59 games before they got their 10th win.
yeah, truly back then it was just a farm team.
Literally farm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when your territory is just becoming a territory, the expectations are low, okay?
Yeah, back then it was
Yeah.
just Peak, not Pikes Peak.
So we talked about the White Sox last year, how they lost 131 games. Colorado's on pace to lose more than that. Yeah. So they fired Bud Black last week. Remember, they lost like 21-0 or 21-7 or something like that.
Mhm.
And the GM was like, "Oh, he's our guy." And they fired Bud Black the next day after saying that. It hadn't helped them.
The research team is currently trying to figure out what
Are you really?
that team was called. So, yeah.
They're 26 games back of first place right now, by the way. They are 10-50.
I mean, they literally could be eliminated by July 4th.
Yeah, they are 6-22 at home and 4-28 on the road with a minus 183 run differential.
Oh.
Yeah, so they actually won a game last night. Nice. They played the Marlins, and they had their first lead for a full inning all season long last night.
A full inning, the
Yes.
first one?
And it didn't last long because the next inning, Miami scored and tied the game.
That's insane. So all their wins were comeback wins.
I think, yeah, it's got to be that way because
falling behind every game.
Yeah.
Well, our research team discovered that they're breaking the 1899 Cleveland Spiders record for the most losses in an MVL season. That's the closest I could find to that. And they are the first team in the modern era of the MLB to have 50 losses before 10 wins.
Could you repeat that for me? Did you say Cleveland Spiders?
Yeah, that's
literally.
Like
they are
1899 Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah, they were established in 1887 and went to 1899, and their emblem, whatever. Oh God, I'm not really a spider person. Here, yeah, I'm gonna make
it's very realistic.
Expect it would be. They're called the Spiders. Their logo's
not
gonna be a spider.
Not a cutesy spider.
Look at that. Oh God,
that is awesome. Looks like a photograph.
I know. We're gonna have to learn more about the Cleveland Spiders, but not today. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this was way before merchandising, and you said 1887 and 1899, so basically that season pretty much put them out of business, it sounds like.
It kind of does.
Is that right?
Yeah, that would be their last one. Yeah.
I believe they changed their name to a certain name that we don't call them anymore. So.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's enough of
MLB. We're moved to
the horrible Rockies. I can't imagine being a Rockies fan. I really can't. Like, I complain as a Cardinals fan. I complain about when our bullpen gives up runs and we don't win the World Series. We don't make deep playoff runs. The Rockies I think they made the playoffs twice in the last 10 years. And that's I think that's rounding up, to be honest.
Should we move on to the NHL?
Sure.
Okay, we finally got the two teams all year we've been waiting to find out, and here they are. It's a repeat.
How unfortunate.
It's a repeat. The one thing no one was rooting for.
Yeah. Nobody outside of Florida and Edmonton were rooting for this. But before we get to that, technically we're going to get there. Let's start with some injury news. Panthers forwards Eetu Luostarinen and Anton Lundell, they are cleared for Game 1, which starts tomorrow, actually, June 4th, which this video is going to be released after that. So, yeah. They're cleared for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Carolina's Jalen Chatfield, Sean Walker, and Seth Jarvis are electing not to receive surgery after your team was eliminated. Chatfield missed the final 6 games with hip injury, not surgery. We just said he wasn't having surgery. Walker was dealing with shoulder injury, and Jarvis also dealing with shoulder. Not electing to have surgery. Let it heal on its own. Wrap it in an ace bandage and get on your way. Ice it every night. Rub some dirt on it.
That's the spirit. That's what helped Bo Jackson get that bone death that ruined his career.
Yeah.
That general attitude.
These three guys will be the same guys that don't get surgery over the offseason and then come into next year and say, "Oh, I need surgery now because I have an impingement in my shoulder. I need to get it taken care of."
Well, I can kind of understand though why you might not want to rush to a surgery, and I know like we were talking about it last time we met that oftentimes the team not certainly they would never consider the franchise's needs when considering the health of their players ever, but if they were to, they might suggest like faster recovery times, surgeries that maybe heal faster but are not like the best long term. So like maybe they want second opinions, maybe they want a more thoughtful surgery that they can recoup from in a longer period of time. So like there could be
Could be.
that's I would never get a surgery with just the recommendation of a team doctor, but that's no reason for that at all.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably looking for a second opinion. I understand that, but the article never said they were looking for a second opinion, so I'm just going off what I read.
Absolutely.
We don't have the resources, man.
You can't assume.
We don't have the resources to talk to them.
With the spiders.
We're not reporters, man. We're not allowed in the locker room. We're not allowed to talk to Chatfield, Walker, and Jarvis.
I'm so okay with that.
Yeah, well, I don't have a major league pass, but I can talk to minor league football players.
Yeah,
true. You'll have it one day.
Locker room, right?
One day, Jay, you'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Okay.
They always said I'd never get on a podcast with you, Brian, but hey, look at me now.
Who said that?
Julie.
Did I?
Julie? Telling Jay he's not on the podcast? What is wrong?
No, I think
you're interesting, Jay, but you're not like Ryan level.
I'm just like my mother. I always forget all the bad things that I say. So I don't know if I believe that.
She would never, ever would she ever say that. There's only a short that we have on our podcast channel where she's roasting people for 3 minutes straight.
It's a look.
Okay.
I have to keep everybody in line somehow, and we know that's my job. So, all right.
Let's go to the playoffs now.
Okay. I was going to say we should do the Miltor May music.
All right, let's talk playoffs now. The conference finals matchups have finished. They both ended in 5. Edmonton over Dallas. Other than game 1, really, the first 2 periods of game 1, Dallas didn't have much going on. They trailed 3-1 entering the third period in game 1. I think they were at home. I think. They scored 5 third period goals to win 6-3. They scored 3 power play goals within the span of, I think, like 5 minutes in the third period. Edmonton didn't have an answer. Dallas just boom, boom, boom. It was over. Game 2, Edmonton wins 3-0. Game 3, 6-1 Edmonton. Game 4, 4-1 Edmonton. And game 5, 6-3 Edmonton. Wow. Believe it or not, it was the closest game out of the last 4 was game 5, and it ended with, I think, 2 empty netters.
I think there was 2. I watched the last.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting because both of them look dominant.
I watched just about every game of both series. Oh, I watch every game, but I watched just about most of every game. It just looked like poor defense on the part of Dallas and bad puck bounces. It's really what it came down to, I believe. Whatever Edmonton had going their way, Dallas did not get in return. They took bad penalties. They got themselves in a hole early. I mean, Ottinger let in 2 goals and 2 shots in game 5 and was pulled. So you can tell how that series went. They just had bad puck luck. And it happens. Sometimes you can't even do anything about it. You just sit back and watch and say, well, shit, So Florida takes out Carolina in 5, like I said. Game 1 goes to Florida 5-2. Game 2, 5-0 Florida. Game 3, 6-2 Florida. Game 4, Carolina pulled it out. Freddie Anderson, 3-0 shutout. Florida just looked like they didn't want to win. They looked like they were just trying things out. Yeah, they looked like they were allergic to the sweep. They just trying things out. Nothing was working, whatever. They were also missing 3 players. So, game 5, 5-3 Florida. They trailed 2-0 to start. They trailed 2-0 to start. It was boom, just like that. They scored 3 straight in the second within 4 minutes and 2 in 30 seconds to take the lead.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Carolina had no answer. There was poor effort by Carolina for the first 3 games, just bad. They are 1-16 in the last 17 conference final games that they played.
Oh my.
The last time they won the conference was 2006 when they won the cup. And
they got some Cleveland Spider stats.
Their head coach was actually the one who scored the game winner, and it was Buffalo, the Sabres, that they played in that. It was Game 7. Rod Brindamore scored the game-winning goal in that series, but can't get him to get over the hump when it comes time to the conference finals as a coach. So, yep. So the third straight finals appearance for the Panthers, back-to-back years of having Edmonton and Florida in the Cup final.
Well, who are you edging? Who are you thinking is going to do? Florida
all the way.
Okay.
And that's not just because I don't like McDavid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got Florida in the series. I think Florida takes in 6. Okay. I don't know. For some reason, Florida's way of hockey just seems like it counters Edmonton's way better than anybody else they'll play. The Kings gave them the biggest test within the playoffs already, and that was the first round. And I think we talked about it. They had 3 straight games where they had multiple goal comebacks to win the game against LA. And so I just feel like Florida plays the best all-around game. I think they're the best coach team that they'll play in the playoffs.
Okay. That makes sense.
This is the first Cup final where we're actually going to have same final as the year prior since 2009, 08-09, when the Penguins played the Red Wings in back-to-back years.
Yeah, kind of like the Chiefs ever.
They actually split that.
It was the Patriots.
They actually split that series. Detroit won the first one, and then Pittsburgh won the second one.
Okay.
It's happened, I think, 11 times, and the team who is repeating as champion ended up winning 7 out of 11 times.
Okay.
So, odds are in Florida's favor.
Okay. Let's talk about the round ball because we're getting to the finals of the NBA, and the networks hate it, but the people love it. That we'll have 2 small market teams in for the first time in a long time.
I believe they ranked 21st and 24th in TV rights.
Yeah. I mean, anything below 15 is a small market. And for them both to be small markets is very unusual.
Well, to be in the bottom third of the league in market size in terms of TV rights, I mean, that's just – you don't see that very often.
No.
I love that for them.
And it's a lot of the reason why a lot of fans just say, oh, the league's rigged, because you don't have these type of teams getting past the conference finals.
Like, Americans love an underdog.
Yeah.
So this is like, yeah.
But, I mean, OKC won 60 games in the regular season, so.
Yeah. And also the way the conference championships ended, I mean, Americans are nostalgic too.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a Van Gundy calling the game along with the Reggie Miller in a championship between the Knicks and Indiana, I mean, they really couldn't have scripted it like that, you know? And when Halliburton hit what he thought was a game winner to tie the game and then runs over towards the TNT desk with the choke symbol, like Reggie Miller done 25
Mm-hmm.
years ago against the Knicks. It was like it was epic because that
Yeah.
was a game. There was a 14-point game with 3 minutes to go in the game.
Mm-hmm.
14. And it wasn't like one of those games where 14 and then they outscore them, 14-0 to go in overtime. They outscored them 20-6.
Mm.
They then shut them out to score 20 points in an NBA game, even with the 24-second shot clock, is just unreal.
And didn't Reggie have 11 and 8 seconds or something like that?
Uh
Or was it 9 and 8?
yeah, it was 8 points in 9 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was just amazing thing. Um but this was just like an onslaught that was continuous. I mean, to get 20 points in 3 minutes. Every three-pointer had to go down. You had to have some turnovers. You had to have the other team miss some free throws, all those sorts of things. Uh, but I saw online where, I mean, the big meme coming out of this is where Tyrese Halliburton hit the game tire on the New York Knicks game, and he did the choke signal
Mm-hmm.
to the bench, and someone picked up on a meme, and they put the meme is called "What the Halliburton" of him doing the thing, and somebody put it on their bicep, a whole bicep tattoo of Tyrese Halliburton
Oh
doing the
wow.
choke signal. It was a really good. It was a really good, likeness and everything. But I think in 2 years, no one will know what that means. They'll just say, "What does that tattoo mean?"
Well, at least you can get it removed, right?
I don't know. Poor people can't get tattoos removed really easily. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, we're not all walking around with that Pete Davidson money, you know?
Oh Lord.
You can get it transformed.
Yeah, exactly, you
Yeah.
know?
You're welcome.
I mean, be like Johnny Carson and just get the name changed a little bit. I
Yes.
mean, his first three wives were all named Joanne.
Oh God.
So,
Anyways,
but
we'll talk
yeah.
about the Knicks.
Anyways,
Talk about the
any
Knicks.
the next they just didn't come through at the end. I mean, uh, Indiana could not miss from 3 pointers. I mean, the Knicks were known for their defense all year. It's not like they don't know how to guard a 3 pointer, but I mean, Indiana was just unconscious.
And I think it just goes to show you how the Knicks team is built. I think they're ahead of schedule as well.
Yeah, I do too.
They just fired Tom Thibodeau
Yeah.
after 5 seasons, and this is the deepest run they made in 25 years.
Pretty amazing.
And
I
I
mean,
believe he's made the playoffs, 3 straight years?
yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when Baker Mayfield like brought the
Browns
the
to the
Browns
playoffs.
for the first time in however long, and then they're like, deuces, we're gonna pick the massage monster instead. Like
This close to beating
that's
Mahomes, and he gets sent packing.
I don't think they put the massage monster in the press release though.
no, I think they left that part out for that. It goes without saying, but like it's that energy where like, oh, you did really, really well for us, thanks, bye. Like that's the vibe kind of to me.
No, the way the NBA escalates things is amazing. 6 weeks ago, we were talking about, oh my God, they fired Taylor Jenkins. He's made the playoffs three the last 4 years, and this team is going to win 50 games. They're like in sixth place or fifth place, wherever it was
Mm.
then. And then 3 weeks, no, 3 weeks later, 5 days before the playoffs, we're like, oh my God, they fired the Denver head coach.
Yeah,
You
Mike
know,
Malone's gone.
he won a championship like 2 years ago. His guy has been in the MVP number one or two the last 4 years, and he got fired. And then we're just sitting there waiting and saying, there's no way they can top that. No, the guy that led them to their deepest run in 25 years gets fired 3 days after he takes them to their championship run. And this Indiana team could be just, it could be a generational team.
Mm.
Nobody shoots
Well,
threes like this team.
Not just that, he coached a team that orchestrated 20-point comebacks in a playoff run.
Yeah.
I mean, should they have been down 20? Probably not. I mean,
No.
that's not a great place to be,
Yeah.
but they did it. And that just goes to show you how what good of a coach he is. I mean, he coaches defense like better than anybody in the league.
And if this was the NHL, somebody else who just got fired for being subpar would be their new head coach right away.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, both conference finals. Just I feel bad for Ant-Man. I really do. He's gonna be 24.
Yeah, he's very young.
He's very young, but that team is just not built, and he's dragging them with every ounce of his fiber, like every fiber of his being. He's dragging that team along, and I said it before. He reminds me of young Kobe.
You cannot have your team rely on one person and then you nail them to the cross when they don't do well. Like they don't do well when they dare to drop their godlike status long enough to do something wrong. Then it's like throw the stones at them, but like they ignore the fact that they're doing everything right all these other times carrying the team.
Right.
Like you need more than one player. Okay, you need more than one.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like it reminds me of when Kobe was left without Shaq for those 2 years or 3 years. It was all Kobe, and Ant-Man is doing the same thing, and it's just
And Oklahoma City was just dominant. They've got it was a 5-game series. Of course, they swept the Memphis Grizzlies. They beat the Nuggets in 7, but the thing about it is the Nuggets kind of had the edge on them until Aaron Gordon got hurt.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
And then he was just hobbling around the last 2 or 3 games. He was no help at all.
No rim protector.
He had 2-game winners. He had a 3-pointer and he had that weird dunk at the end.
Right. Yeah.
And it was the second series in a row that the first or second best player for the opponent, Oklahoma City, was hurt by Lou Dort.
God.
2 in a row.
Stuff like that happens, man. I mean, think about Golden State's first run with Steph. They pretty much faced everybody in the playoffs that was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, they get to the finals, Kyrie breaks his kneecap, gone.
Yeah.
Stuff like that happens, man.
Yeah. I mean, the first run, the Grizzlies were almost even with them in a game 4, and Mike Conley got his face broken. And he was out. He was out for a couple of games, and then they lost in 6.
Mamba mentality, man. Put a mask on it. Let's finish up real quick on the Western Conference Finals. OKC did lose Game 3 by 42. Right?
Right, but then they won 4 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, they won 4 and 5. And Game 4 was much closer than the first 2 and even Game 3 or Game 5. It was an odd series for a series that went 5.
It was. I mean, you usually don't see the team that just lost 1,
right,
that theirs would be by far the hugest discrepancy.
So who you going for?
It's got to be Indiana.
You know what? I don't know. I think I got to go with OKC with this one. I got to stick with West. I'm a Western Conference guy, Lakers fan, so I think I'm going to stick with the West. And I mean, SGA, did you know he was part of the Paul George trade?
Yeah, they got so rooked. They got so rooked.
The 2025 NBA Finals brought to you by Paul George.
Yeah.
Like 2 trades involving Paul George set up both of these teams.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But also the thing is that it was like they got draft picks too, and a couple of those guys have been contributors.
Yeah. So how many games do you think it goes?
I think 6, because if it goes 7, the 7th will be in Oklahoma City, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't think that Indiana could win it in 7. They have to knock it out in 6 if they're going to do it.
Man, I don't know. As long as they keep Tyrese's dad off the floor, we'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
So I heard they're actually letting him back into games now.
Well, in the suites.
In the suite. Okay, so he's not allowed to floor seats. Okay. Well, he should be in the suites. I mean,
his son's a player. Why shouldn't he be in a suite?
Right.
You know,
Oh,
but
gotta be on by the floor.
it's the one good time that the guard is there not to keep people out, but to keep people in. Okay. Only I was entertained by that, but that's fine.
I
I
gave
make
you a
up for it.
courtesy chuckle. Settle
You
down.
sure did.
It was not a courtesy. It's
It was
better
a,
than a courtesy chuckle. I mean, seriously.
I can laugh like Butthead if you like.
I got nothing.
Beavis?
So
Would a Beavis laugh make you feel better? Or...
Beavis laughs make no one feel better.
That's all right.
That's all right.
That's
Okay.
all right. I'll
I-
save I'll save the jokes for the DVD commentary of the podcast.
Oh, we should do that.
The-
Think of the
when first-
merchandising.
when the first 100 episodes go through.
Mm.
We're
You know?
we're gonna have to have a best of the first 100.
The best of
Our 101 episode, our 101st episode will be a best
yeah.
of.
You know what I was
Best.
just talking about during Memorial Day? Somehow the word incarnate came back into my mind. That'll be in the top 100 for sure.
Senior Caleb going to
Yes.
incarnate word.
Absolutely.
He will never live that down.
Absolutely not.
I think he understands and knows.
Not until the day I die.
Okay, let's move over to the oblong ball made of pigskin.
It's no longer made of pigskin, but sure.
It's a joke from Coming to America.
Nerd.
We'll start off with just a tiny bit about the
UFL.
UFL. Yeah, the last week of the season.
That was rough for you.
It
Oof.
was rough. I was there in person.
I'm sorry.
I'm okay. I mean, luckily I was in the press box, so since you can't open the windows there, I could not smell the showboats actually being scorched on the field
Yeah.
as they
couldn't see-
were.
They couldn't see your tears on camera.
Oh, I tell you what, it was rough. Yeah, it was the first game all year that the showboats were not within a score at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I mean, to be
They
two and
surely were not.
they were not, no. But you've got to give a shout out to Tay Crowder, okay, former Titan, I believe a former Ram, but
Hey, Crowder?
Tay Crowder, yeah, TAE.
This sounds familiar. It sounds really familiar.
The reason it sounds familiar, I'm going to get to, is the fact that his uncle used to play for the Grizzlies. His uncle is Jay Crowder,
Okay.
and Tay Crowder is his nephew. So
Is he in relation to Jameson?
Jameson,
Crowder?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do not know. I just know that because it was such an unusual spelling. One is JAE and the other is TAE. It's not JAY and TAY.
Look, they only want certain letters.
See,
Okay.
I kind of figured it was spelled TAE because, like, when people call Devontae Tay, it's usually TAE. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
But anyway, I gotta give a shout out to him. He scored 2 pick sixes against the
Ooh.
Showboats. One guy, 2 pick sixes.
Were they deflected? Was one of them deflected?
The first one was a sad deflection, but the second one was a legitimate cutting the route short, intercepting it, and going all the way down.
Undercut.
Yeah, he undercut it and then just outstripped everybody.
Woof.
So it was a thing of beauty.
Undressed him.
The second one was one of the sad ones where the defender in front tips it, and then it goes towards a receiver, and you're saying, "Don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it," and they touch it, and then of course it tips right to the defender behind.
Yeah.
And then he made a couple of nice swivel moves to make the run back on that one. But the first one was totally not on the quarterback. The second one was 100% on the quarterback. So, yeah. But I didn't catch much else from the weekend. I just know that since they're having location issues with all the venues not being available, so that all the teams were pretty much set and the locations were set too. So we knew the 4 teams that were going in. Birmingham was was going to be one of the four, but they did not take it easy by taking the starters out in the third quarter or anything. They just did the whoop up on Memphis.
Yeah, they sure
Oof.
did. Uh,
Big oof.
the DC Defenders and the Battlehawks got a, I guess, preview for, because they're going to be playing again against each other next week for the conference championship. So we'll see how that one goes. The Defenders lost, so will that carry on? We're not sure. The Michigan Panthers fell to the Houston Roughnecks, which is probably not the inspiration they wanted to head into the postseason with the Panthers, but you win some, you lose some. And the Houston Roughnecks, I think they are definitely better than they were last season. I think next season they could be decent. So we're seeing progress. Nobody cares about Arlington or the Brahmas because they're both losing anyway. But in case you were wondering, the Brahmas got spanked again.
Damn.
It is not working out for them, whatever they're doing. And then the Stallions, whooped the Showboats. And so they definitely got a little confidence booster heading into their postseason next week when they face off against the Panthers. However, the Panthers are not one to allow, a loss to distract them. So I think and they are super solid. So I think there is a distinct possibility that they could still take it. Let me see here. So the Battlehawks are leading the Defenders, like stats wise, and then the Stallions are pulled ahead of the Panthers this last week with the wins loss situation, but they are like neck and neck for one of the first times. So fingers crossed that the Birmingham will not be the championship winner this time around.
That makes sense. I think you're right. I think they're a lot weaker going into it than before.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they got fleeced by the Showboats, and I will never forget that. So
that I believe that was what really put the fire in them for this game. They started pounding and they did not let up.
They do have a problem with their revenge,
Yeah.
controlling their desires for revenge. So I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the Showboats knew it was going to be rough going in because their top two receivers haven't been there the last 2 weeks. One was traded and one was out for the year. And it's really bad because Adams missed like the last 4 games of the year. And he was the leading receiver in the UFL for like the first 3 weeks of the year. So
Yeah.
and they traded basically our number one receiver, D. Anderson, for a defensive back that never saw the field. So that didn't turn out really well.
I could be wrong, but I feel like last year the Showboats did better than they did this year. So maybe this is just a bump in the road. But like
Will
you said, they had really close games almost the entire season. That speaks to their what could be is not far away.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're right. They had the lowest, unfortunately, they had the lowest attendance in the UFL, probably second or third lowest viewership in the UFL. So
Well,
we'll
that
see.
kind of happens when you end up losing that much, but
Yeah, that's true. But also the fact that they know that they're a very bad team, so they get the
yeah.
worst TV time slots, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But
So they kind
anyway,
of fix whatever is going on over there. That'll fix itself up.
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, switching over to the Shield, and Julie was doing a wonderful feature on some of the different schedule releases.
Sure did. So I am not a 25-year-old male, so I won't be doing the S tier YouTube thing. But I am an old lady, so I'll do a grading chart for how I perceived each team. I did try to edit this, but for some reason I couldn't. So this is what we get. My first instinct is where we end up. Yep, so 4 teams. I gave them an A for being awesome. Um, there was a lot of like D's, above average, C's and D's. It was like, wow, you did really bad, but you didn't fail. And then we have some strong F's there in the bottom. And when I was watching all 32 in like a couple hour span, I realized that there's a couple things that I like. They need to be under 3 minutes or I'm gonna get lost almost every time. I appreciate player participation and collaborations. So when they bring in the players, that's like it just automatically makes it better to me. And an actual attempt at humor is helpful. Not everybody achieved that. So there's 18 teams where I didn't finish it because it sucked. That would be San Francisco, the Rams, the Bucks, Atlanta, the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, the Eagles, Washington, the Patriots, the Jets, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Colts. The Colts obviously are in all these lists, but we didn't even really get to see theirs. And they made a second one, but it was on like their mascot team, and I'm like, I am not indulging in your pettiness. Get it right the first time or I'm not watching. So anyway, um so I can just do a really quick recap for the NFC West. Arizona did a rap music video. There was some critiques because it was less humorous and actually looked like they put effort into making the video good. And I was like, well, I think that's probably a good thing. Anyway, I enjoyed the collaboration. It was a good length, super creative, love that. San Fran did a rendition of the Oregon Trail,
Ooh.
and it just went way too long and was like really detailed, but it just lagged. I realized I hate when they do like old game reboots. It just are there people like that? Not me. The Rams did a Brenda Song news segment that looked like kind of had some SNL energy to me. Um, she was kind of funny, but it just went too long, and I got lost in the sauce because it was like it started going, like look, I was watching a lot of videos. I'm not gonna. Usually I'm a long form, not particularly critical individual, so I had to channel my inner petty, and when my brain shut off the first time, I just clicked off. So,
Yeah.
but
I felt the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate it though, but I mean, yeah. Seattle, okay, I actually rated this lower than a lot of other people did, and I think that was from being overly objective. But they had a retro 90s action figure commercial, and it was pretty epic. It was only 2 minutes, and it was kind of amazing, and that's not because I'm from the 90s. Well, maybe a little, but they did a really good job. The NFC South, the ATL did a Mario Kart esque rendition, and I was like, I hate it. It fell flat. I didn't finish it. I didn't even get through most of it because I just apparently I really don't like old game renditions. It just was like cool story. I don't even want to know your schedule that bad. Um, so the Panthers, I really like theirs. They had this like group therapy vibe where they had all these players collaborating and they were revealing the schedule. So they had these players revealing things about themselves. And it was actually pretty hilarious. It was kind of weird that everybody had a subtitle. I think they did that because it was hard to understand what one guy was saying, but it was kind of going into the no. It was kind of going into the territory where the implication that we couldn't understand what they were saying or that they weren't speaking clearly. Did not love that part, but I mean, you can overlook it because it was really, really good. The Saints did a press release style with their new head coach, and they had the angry translator. If y'all remember that Key and Peele thing with Obama, sketch with Obama. So they had a up and coming comedian doing the angry translation for the new head coach, and it definitely made me laugh. I actually paid attention to the games because when the people were raising their hands for the press release, they were going and like talking about each game in order. So I love that because half the time the games are not even close to being in order. I can't keep track. Um, and it was like 4.5 minutes long, and I still watched it, which was always a good indication that it was decent. The Bucks had a 10-minute unboxing video with John Gruden, and I hated it. I watched for like 30 seconds. I'm not even sure how anybody watched it for longer than that, and it was a stupid idea. Everything was out of order. I get what they were going for, but oh, just fail. Fail, fail, fail. That's why they're in the F tier. Okay. NFC North, the Bears. It was weird. It was like let me see here. Yeah, it was everything was like in poor resolution. I believe it was like a dream kind of situation. Um, they had like some actors in there. It's just like they did a hodgepodge and everything just fell really flat for me. The skit was bad. Everything did not stick in there. Now they were like, oh, we love. There was some player collaboration, so I zoomed ahead to see if it was decent. But everybody was just like bad at acting. It was just bad. The Lions, I thought it was kind of cool. They like zoomed around and had like so they went to different locations around the city and they had like the two helmets so you kind of got to see the city and it was sort of like an aerial view and they were kind of going around but there wasn't any talking and it was like bare minimum kind of thing. Yeah, a little boring. The Packers was also a weird dream thing. It was tacky. It was a little bit witty, but it felt like I was in a dream trying to watch it. It was like poor resolution, like the Bears, and it just fell flat in the humor department. Definitely didn't finish that. The Vikings, okay, I thought this was so cool. Other people were like, eh, but they had a tattoo. Some were fake, some were not, apparently, where they were in a tattoo parlor and they would have a tattoo with fans for every game. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. Like, yeah, the tattoos were really good too. But anyway, that was kind of like, eh. So I like the Dallas one. I put it as the one that I liked that everybody hated. It was a little hard to follow. But it was like all the teammates like playing golf, and it was like a IRL live stream. Um, the games are kind of out of order, but you would have to watch it. But I thought it was really funny. The guys were hilarious, and they had so everything was happening on the golf course, and it was. I liked it. Some people were like, apparently it came from like a 4-hour video, and they're like, you'd have to watch all 4 hours for it to make sense. I don't think that's true. I thought it was funny, but some people I guess wanted more context. I don't know. The Eagles, the first like minute 20 was all about that stupid trophy. I hated it. They literally just showed the trophy for like the first minute 20 and then they had like a quick blip of the schedule. Go away. I didn't even finish watching it and it was only a minute. Okay. So the Giants had like a dating reality show introduction. So if you've seen like the ultimatum, Love Island, that kind of stuff, when they introduce the people, they did that, but with like the fan bases for like each team when they were like introducing who they were playing. I love a good dating reality show in the 2000s and today. So it was like, again, I actually laughed, which happened pretty rarely during this whole thing. And so they get a kudos for being relevant and for being funny because some of their dicks at the fan bases were hilarious. The Commanders did a roller coaster tycoon knockoff, and I hated that one too. Finished like 2 seconds of it, and I was like, I'm not even going to pay attention to this. The resolution is shit. I don't even like the game. So the Bills did the thing that Jay likes with the AI with they used AI and then it ended up being Allen Iverson.
It was
Yes.
such a great, a callback.
And it was just under 2 minutes, which is always always a positive for me. And I think it really appealed to the more boomery age range, if I had to guess, because it was kind of a callback. But it seemed like something my dad would like. I didn't like love it, but I didn't hate it either. The The Dolphins, it was just blah blah. It was like a movie trailer, little barely talking, just straight schedule. The Patriots did an egg drop challenge, and I hated it. I watched less than 1 minute of the 5 minutes, and I think that the other guy said it looked like a bad science project, for like a class of untalented individuals. Um, I watched one egg drop and it was just so anticlimactic. It was just like, I don't even, you just absolutely didn't even want to finish it just to see the schedule. You're like, forget about it. The Jets did an infinity drawing. And they had some like cool references that were millennially, like Harry Potter, Sopranos. But I'm not really into the infinity drawing. It's like where you like draw something and then you zoom into the picture and then there's something else and you zoom in further and then there's like another. And so they went team by team by team with this YouTube infinity drawer. Some people really like that, like the nerds that like the game styles, but that was not my vibe. But I didn't hate it either. The AFC North sucked. So the Ravens had a their own rendition of Severance, which is not a reference that I got the first time because I haven't watched it. They just had like amnesia and were like wandering around. It was super weird. I guess if you'd like Severance, maybe it was fun, but for those of us, of which I'm sure there are many that haven't seen it, it was just a 7 minutes. I'm wasting my time. Okay, the Bengals did what Dallas did, but then failed. I can't even emphasize enough how bad it was. It was so they had like a camera in like their practice room, and people were like walking in and out doing like candid moments. It just looked like somebody left the camera on in a room and they forgot about it. And it was like just like random people walking in talking about like Gatorade flavors and stuff. Just like complete trash. It looked like they accidentally left the camera on. Completely unintentional. It was like, where's the punchline? It never came. Horrible. Okay, so the Browns had this thing that I thought it was an elf, but I guess it was a macro room reference. I think it's a YouTube thing. It made no sense to me why there was an elf. Sometimes I feel like the groups that they're targeting are a bit niche. So anyway, it was an elf just doing like different skits. Hated it. The Steelers did a Sasquatch hunting live stream situation. They called it Sacking Sasquatch, which I thought was funny. It was pretty funny. They had some good jokes and stuff, but it went for 6 minutes and it just went on too long. Like it was decent, but they needed to cut down the length, okay? The AFC West, Denver, my favorite one. We're gonna watch a little bit of that. The Chiefs had like the Chiefs cab, which was a take on the cash cab, with a trivia style that was introducing each game. Didn't hate it, but didn't love it. Went too long, didn't finish it. The Chargers did a Minecraft like thing, and I didn't finish that one either. Maybe if I liked Minecraft, but I got lost in the sauce. They did say like it was really good detail, like, and they had like little innuendos and stuff that were really good, but I got lost. I didn't care. The Raiders it was 7 minutes, but I could not look away, which I feel like is a huge ode to them. Like they had a literal goat when they were talking about Brady. I thought that was hilarious. They were subtly shady all the time. They even had like uh um Pete Carroll getting a gun delivery. It was just like so solid. They had like a tush push to help somebody get a cart over like a I don't know, it was office equipment. They had to move the cart and they used a tush push to do it to represent the Philadelphia. Their game against Philly. So I thought that was hilarious. They had like just super solid every time. Okay. So the AFC South, the Texans did a "What's Up" rendition. Love that because we all remember that commercial, right, Ryan? What's up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a lot of sense when it came to the actual schedule, but it was good and short. the Colts, Okay, and then the Jags brought on Ashton Hall. This is kind of niche, but I actually knew it. The YouTuber who does the morning routines, and he's also like, did he play college football? I don't know. And so they did a fake morning routine. I felt like the least niche, but still social media aware of all of them. And that would actually appeal to like a younger audience. So I felt like they, out of everyone, was probably the most like in touch with this generation or any like generation. But anyway, it was a really funny morning routine. The Titans did the prescription drug ad. It was short but sweet, and I really liked that one. So,
kind of like a path hopes.
My top, the best conference was the AFC South. The Jags, the Texans, the Titans, super solid. The worst was the AFC North with the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. Throw them all away. So my top three favorites were Denver, Arizona, and the Panthers. And honorable mentions goes to the Raiders. And the worst three were the Bucks, the Patriots, and the Ravens. And dishonorable mentions go to the Bears. And just to highlight again, the really creative ones, the Seahawks with the 90s commercial, the Saints, the Angry Translator, the Vikings with the tattoos, the Titans with the prescription ad, the Jags with the morning routine, and the Giants with the reality show edge, I thought were the best. Yeah, I compared with someone else, and they seemed to like super love. They didn't really like the rap video, which I was like, you suck. They didn't like the Denver one, and I'm like, you absolutely suck. And then I didn't like any of the game ones, and they did. So they had all the Chargers, Commanders, and Falcons, which were all old game renditions, like in their S tier. And I'm like, I hate all of them, so no. But they did have the Seahawks, and they hated the Bengals as much as I did. But they were definitely more critical of the ones that I liked and liked ones that I hated more. So like I saw like some comparisons, but I'm just thinking obviously it felt like the person that I was comparing against did not have a firm understanding of pop culture in any way. But anyway, I'm gonna finish this out. The enthusiasm is overwhelming. I kind of did wish I rated Seattle a little higher. I was being too objective. But anyway, still all good. So that's my little, after 32 different schedule releases, that one was the best, and 18 of them weren't worth watching.
That makes sense.
There you go.
We're going to kind of round it up now with a talk to Ryan and maybe around to Julie. There wasn't much going on with the NFL this week. Adam Schefter was pretty much like retweeting NBA stuff, it seemed like. But Ryan's got one update on our trade news for this week.
The Niners are trying to bolster their pass rush. Finalizing a deal to acquire Bryce Huff from Philly. It's going to include restructured contracts. He's scheduled to make $16.75 million in fully guaranteed money in 2025. Philly is now going to take on $9.05 million in salary. San Francisco will handle the other $7.95 million. Philly's also expecting a mid-round pick in return. Heading up to the NFC North, Minnesota's extending their GM for multiple years. So,
but we know that can change in a moment's notice, especially in such a dysfunctional area.
Yeah, I mean, JJ McCarthy doesn't work out. Oof. Look out.
Yeah.
Get out the boo birds. The baskets for the boo birds, man. Youcha my goucha.
Yeah.
But that's everything.
I think we've about covered everything, and I do want to give a shout out to Coach Belichick for not making our program this week. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, you kept your
awesome
granddaughter in check this week. You wanted to rage against the man when it came to the Steelers and Old Man Rogers, right? Jay?
Yeah, I'm just kind of tired of the Rogers thing. Every time that there's a microphone stuck in his face, he's got something going on with.
He should go with Belichick's granddaughter because they have a similar energy.
why he's not doing things? But literally, if you think back to 5 years ago, how much better and an impression we had of Belichick and Brady when we knew so much less about their personal lives. It's been a rough 5 years for both of them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been writing about a lot of Patriots during Asian American Heritage Month and Jewish American Heritage Month, and it was really hard because most of them were there during their like golden era, and I just remember how cool Belichick once was.
Yeah, it's when you put all your life out on Front Street, it's like you're going to just get people divided. I'm like, you should be live and let live.
Especially when your life choices are stupid.
Yeah, it should be live and let live, but if you're so far out of the mainstream, you're going to spend your whole time just defending yourself. Is it really worth it, you know?
Yeah, especially when they act a fool, too. That doesn't help. It would be one thing if she was just on the sidelines, but she's got to be up in there on the field in her heels, so you can't miss it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're getting ready to roll on out of here.
Yeah.
Roll on.
We gotta remember. We'll remember years past when we used to like people.
Yeah, we'll remember years past when we have our 101st show.
Yes,
and the best of.
Yeah, I'm going to wait till after the end of the version of this comes out to see if we make it to the next show.
We'll have one-on-one interviews with.
I mean, that girl
all
was
the
still
cast members.
That girl was still in junior high during the golden era that we're talking about. So
it makes you legal. That's all that matters.
Is that all that matters? All right.
Anyway, Julie, do the sign off.
Yeah, like, subscribe for more slander on granddaughter. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell thing, and help me get that clothes from Tina Tomlin. And maybe I'll donate it so that girl has more fun. All right.
Lord. All right. See y'all next week.
Bye, y'all. See you next week.